problem with Tony or her wedding. I am excited about it. I am happy for her. Do you hear me? I am happy for my friend.
Let me let y'all know right now, there is simply no getting around the fact that Joan Clayton is a piece of work. I love Tracee Ellis Ross. I love her performance as Joan. And while I know that Joan is a piece of work, I do my best to try to look at things in the light most favorable to Joan. Because sometimes I think, in an effort to have a hot take, people be playing on Joan's top and truly dragging it. The drag I used to see often on Twitter back when I roamed them hateful streets is that none of the girls on Girlfriends were good friends. And that's just not true or fair to Joan overall. Don't get me wrong now. Joan has some real up moments in her friendships where she looks real crazy, the worst of which we'll be discussing later in this very video. But overall, she was a pretty great friend to 3 parasiticos who took from her while regularly putting her down, validating her worst fears and throwing her insecurities in her face, as well as conveniently catching amnesia about the many things Joan's done for them, which is nuts. When Lynn been living off her since college, Maya literally works for her and takes full advantage of this to be a shitty employee and friend, as well as lives with her for months when Darnell kicks out of their house for cheating, and Joan been taking care of Tony since they were children, and all it's gotten her is Tony dating her boyfriends, talking down to her and taking from her. I say all that to say, I am a who be looking at the evidence in the light most favorable to Joan, and she definitely deserves justice for a few things, but where she doesn't is in her relationship with Ellis, because baby, Joan was a nightmare this entire relationship from beginning to end. And the reason that no one kicks Joan's back in enough for how she gave it up during this relationship, because gals don't think Ellis fine. So everybody just lets Joan rock. But no, we gonna get some justice for Ellis today, because Joan was on top tier bullshit in that relationship at every turn, and Ellis should have never even gone on a date with Joan, let alone pursued a relationship with her. So without further ado, here's why Joan was the problem in her relationship with Ellis. Roll the theme song, Aaron.
Black independent, strongest in women. It's Olay, it's Olay, it's Olay, it's Olay now. I know that I'm worth it, so make sure to listen. It's Olay, it's Olay, it's Olay, it's Olay.
Y'all need to understand, Ellis been dealing with Joan slandering him and making him out to be the problem since the very moment he met her. Because when they meet at the gym, Ellis is on the treadmill minding his own business when Joan comes up to him because she wants this man to get off the treadmill he's already on so she could use it, because she don't want to use any of the multiple available treadmills because he's using her favorite one. Let me tell y'all something. Joan lucky that man didn't tell her to carry her ass from around him right then. But he and Joan do get into a little back and forth because he calls on being controlling. Because why are you in the gym feeling like you can ask a stranger to stop using the equipment because you feel like using it right then? So then Joan hits back by saying she doesn't have time to be waiting around all day to use the machine because unlike him, she has a real job. So Ellis is an actor, not an aspiring one. Like, he's actually a movie star in the show, one that Joan recognizes immediately. So Joan puts down his career as him playing make-believe. Mind you, the fact that Ellis is a celebrity is the sole reason Joan even becomes interested in him, if we keep it a buck. And it's not the first or last time that we'll see Joan's desperate desire for famous men or to be in proximity to famous men. Earlier in the series, prior to meeting Ellis, she meets another famous guy at a bar, and she and him hit it off before exchanging numbers, only for Joan to keep calling that man phone and hanging up, not realizing that he'll call ID. And then when he don't answer a call, she starts then hanging out at the bar she met him at, hoping to run into this man. So then he obviously decides that she's a stalker who needs to stay the away from him. So Ellis and Joan go back and forth for a little while before he decides that this shit ain't worth his time. He might as well get his nut bitch the treadmill. From there, Joan all in her friend's face running on about how much she can't stand Ellis and how pretentious and egotistical he is because he's an actor and blah, 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 blah. Whole time, Joan was the one who had some nerve, you know. And the gals have sense too. They know this bitch only running on but this man because she want him. So they suggest this to her. But Joan insists she can't stand him. So Tony say, okay, cool. Let me go to the gym with you tomorrow then so I can snag me a rich, famous So the next day, Tony and Joan go to the gym, and Joan gets to her favorite treadmill, but it's not working. So she gives up and gets on another one, only for moments later, Ellis to stroll in and have the good sense to simply plug the damn thing in. At which point, Joan jumps in this man's face to row him, expecting him to get off the treadmill now that he's got it on because she got there first. Let me tell y'all something. Joan had to be based in LA, where she had her own home and yard away from people. Because if she was based in New York City, she'd have 1000% been the neighbor from hell who'd be trying to control what happened in another people's crib. Joan and Ellis go back and forth yet again, and Ellis is calling Joan on the fact that the only reason she keeps looking for something to argue with him about is because she obviously want him. And while this is happening, Tony is between them flirting with him. Joan denies the allegations to Ellis, only to moments later tell Tony he's right, I do want him, and push my gal onto the treadmill and onto the floor. From then on, she started doing her usual desperate Joan thing and dragging things and having unreasonable expectations and doing the most typical Joan shit. So they go on a date. Joan's bragging to the girls about how smart and deep he is, only for Lynn to realize that he's actually just quoting one of his movie scripts to Joan. So Joan calls him on it. And mind you, let me just say that she called it in the most dramatic of fashions. Like, you don't know this y'all have been on one date. But anyhow, he apologizes. He dresses as a lobster to do a dance and sing a sorry song to her to show his emotional vulnerability, because that's a job he used to work when he was broke, and that's something that nobody knows about him. So then they start dating, and it is absolutely not smooth sailing from then. I truly believe that very often the problems that end a relationship were present at the beginning, and Joan and Ellis are a perfect example of that. Because it's important to note, Joan and Ellis's relationship begin with arguments brought about by Joan's absolute insanity. And that pretty much sums up their entire relationship. Shortly into dating, they get into it because Ellis had a movie premiere coming up. And Joan, who is only dating him for the hype of being with a celebrity in the first place, is obviously dying to be on the red carpet with this dying. So she buys 1 million dresses. She tells all her friends about it. She even invites them to stand outside there to see her walk the red carpet. Y'all know Joan, doing the most. Only for the big night to come, them to be on their way to the event together in the limo, when Ellis's publicist, Angie Stone, rest in peace to a real one, informs her that she can't walk the red carpet with him because it's bad for his image. He needs to present a single image. And Ellis tries to push back at first, but the publicist isn't hearing it, so he acquiesces. And Joan doesn't just get booted from the red carpet. The publicist downgraded her seats too. She doesn't even get to sit with Ellis up there. Then on top of that, when she gets to the carpet, because she was doing the most, all her friends are there to see her walk this carpet. She ain't walking, so now she even more shame. And to make matters worse, Tony there walking the red carpet with Layla Ali and sitting where Ellis and all of them are. So Joan rightfully feels hurt. You can't blame my girl for feeling sad and shitty. That being said, I don't blame the publicist or Ellis. At this point, Joan is a neurotic gal that Ellis just met in the gym the other day. Why would his publicist have the public introduced her as this gal by having her walk the carpet with him? I fully get it. I am not a movie star and I do not have a publicist. But just as a motherfucker with a platform, a niche public figure, I never showed my followers my man until deep into the relationship when I knew he was the one. Ellis was not thinking straight when he extended Joan that invite, and his publicist was right to course correct it. This is this man's career. But Joan is still entitled to feeling hurt about it, because the fact of the matter is that he did invite her. She got excited for it. She prepared for it, only to be tossed on her ass like chopped liver that night. So I am on her side with that. And you know what? So is Ellis. He takes full accountability when Joan lets him have it. And to make up for it, he invites her to be a part of his big interview with People magazine. And Joan is, of course, ecstatic. And Ellis didn't just have the interview with Joan present. He had it at her house, talked at length about her and their relationship, all that. So you know, Joan hype. Because again, she with this man for the clout. And if you weren't sure she was with him for the clout, it's 1000% clear when the People magazine comes out, because my gal goes racing to the magazine stands to get the copy. And when she reads the article, a glowing article about Ellis, who is the subject of the article, mind you, instead of being happy for him, when she sees no mention of her in the article, this woman throws a whole hissy fit and tries to break up with him, talking about she tired of being dismissed and disrespected. She told everybody she was gonna be in People magazine. Let me tell y'all something. Ellis needed to leave Joan right there, and I feel strongly about this. So last year, The Cut did a cover story on me called The Woman Who Ate Eric Adams for Breakfast, after my Breakfast Club with New York City Mayor Eric Adams went super viral. And they did the whole works for it. Same thing. The interviewer came to my house, photo shoot and all that, just like what Joan and Ellis did. And my man was home and present for my interview, just like Joan was. And he was asked questions and we talked about our relationship, just like Joan and Ellis did. And just like People magazine, The Cut ain't mentioned shit about him or our relationship, because that's not why the they're doing the piece. It wasn't about my beloved, just like it wasn't about Joan. I can't even fathom how mind-blown I would have been if that piece about me came out and my mom was upset he wasn't in it. Joan is a literal an impediment to this man's career. It was fair for her to feel that Ellis hadn't demonstrated a desire to include her and to claim her after the red carpet mishap. So Ellis made up for that. He showed her where he stands by including her in the People interview, which should be what she needs to prove how he feels about her, his intentions. He has zero control over what People publishes. That's not good enough for Joan, because it ain't really about Ellis's feelings for her. It's about her wanting to be seen by the world. She is quite literally clout chasing off this man. And Ellis knows this because he calls her on it.
Are you in this relationship to be with me, or do you want some kind of celebrity by association?
But instead of leaving her ass then, he accepts her apology and he stays with her. Ellis is 1000% a man who must love bad treatment, because there really ain't no logical reason under the sun why Ellis even went out with her after how crazy she was carrying on in the gym. And slowly but surely, she has continued showing the man that she crazy as entire relationship. From then on, it's still not truly smooth sailing, because Joan is a very insecure woman who has looked for problems. So on one occasion, she asked him to rate her on a scale of 1 to 10 on her looks. He tells her she's a 9, and then she insists that she knows she's not a 9 if Halle Berry is a 10, and demands he give her a different rating, a real rating. She can take it. So when he finally acquiesces and gives her the 6 she was begging for, she has a fit about that. But that's literally just one of their many spats. They had way bigger shit coming up, because when your next look is Valentine's Day, and you already know Joan has caused stress in all her relationships on every single holiday. Not just romantic relationships, interpersonal, all relationships, but especially the relationships. We will be discussing Joan's relationship with Sean on another date. Trust. So when Valentine's Day comes, Ellis, knowing how much holidays mean to Joan, plans an elaborate little scavenger hunt and date for her. But all that romance and excitement is cut short when Ellis doesn't show up for hours because he learned that his ex-girlfriend is pregnant for him and about to have his child. And let me be clear, while this is a video about how Joan was the problem in this relationship, all that aside, she would have been 10,000,000% within her rights to leave that right there. Baby, with another bitch, no sir. Baby with another bitch, and you leave me sitting in a restaurant all night because you busy talking to the next bitch but the baby? No. And it's not that Ellis is wrong. It's not his fault any of this is happening. He didn't withhold any information from Joan or deceive her in any way. He didn't know. It's just simply an ass situation that she would have been entitled to remove herself from. And honestly, she should have, because Ellis is already not a truly likes. She likes the idea of being a celebrity's girlfriend and just having a boyfriend in general, because, you know, Joan desperate, sad, and insecure. And she already be resenting the man half the time as it is, because she feels insecure in his shadow, so to speak. So adding dealing with some other woman, baby, and baby mama drama was a surefire way to guarantee Joan be the girlfriend from hell. But neither one of them had the good sense to end the relationship right there. So after that, their relationship truly becomes the worst. But why does their relationship become the worst, you ask? Oh, why, I'll tell you. Because Tony and Todd get engaged, and nobody in the history of the earth has ever been more jealous, angry, and bothered by their friend finding love before them. From the moment Tony gets engaged, Joan becomes insufferable in every single episode leading up to the wedding. She literally cannot stomach to see Tony's joy. At Tony and Todd's engagement party, she finds a reason to duck out at the toast, which Ellis peeps. When Tony's trying on wedding dresses, Joan's sitting there scowling, hating on every dress, to the point where Maya and Lynn got to call out on her jealous hating shit. She couldn't even bring herself to try wedding cake with Tony. My girl immediately ducks out talking about she got to wash dishes or something. She's so miserable about Tony getting married that it becomes like this terrible thing Joan is going through that she starts putting Ellis through. And let me tell you where she truly loses her mind: the marathon. Joan ain't trained for no marathon in months. But all of a sudden, because Tony getting engaged and she feeling like she losing some internal competition in her mind, she decides she gotta win this marathon. So she all of a sudden picture out she training for the marathon a couple days away. But when she oversleeps her own alarm to get up to train, she start trying to cuss Ellis out for that. Then when Ellis points out she ain't trained or mentioned this marathon in months, and a marathon ain't something she could just jump up and do without training, she cusses ass for that. So Joan come about she doing this marathon, and of course, 2 seconds after the thing start, Ellis had to scoop this gal off the floor and take her home and rest her on her couch. Then, when the girls get there to check on her, because they've been waiting at the finish line and never saw her cross, and she didn't bother to call them and let them know she quit early or nothing, this gal somehow spins round and turns the entire on Ellis in front of her friends. The man who just finished carrying her home. She starts snapping at this man for no reason, intentionally trying to denigrate him in front of her friends, blaming him for why she ain't trained for the marathon, accusing him of taking from her and all kind of bullshit. All because she angry as that Tony getting married and she is not. When I tell y'all Joan was wilding the out, you truly gotta see it to believe it.
Here, it's time to ice again.
Ellis, I told you I don't want that.
Well, you need it.
What I needed was to train for the marathon for the past 6 months.
Yeah, I agree.
What are you saying? I'm some sort of dummy who can't finish what she starts?
I don't have time for this. I'm out of here.
Okay, don't you dare walk out on me. I was supposed to finish the marathon, and I didn't because of you.
What? The fact you didn't finish is my fault?
I'm talking about how I just give and give and give, and you just take and take and take and take.
And I really don't understand how that wasn't the last straw for Ellis. I wouldn't have dreamed about seeing that gal no more if it was me. But no, Joan tells Ellis he needs to come get his things from her house. But this gal is again so determined not to be a part of Tony's wedding celebrations that she intentionally invites Ellis to come over to her house to collect his things in the middle of Tony's wedding cake party. And when Ellis and Tony both reasonably object, Joan demands this get his things right then in the middle of the party. At which point, he and Joan go to the room, providing Joan yet another opportunity to lash out on him, forcing him to finally say what he's been trying not to say. And that's that. This shit don't got shit to do with him. You being mean and nasty because you jealous of Tony.
All of this is not about us. You're jealous of Tony.
That's crazy.
You ran out on her toast. You told me to come over here in the middle of her party. And when I get here, you're folding towels. I mean, come on, Joan, come on. That's why the marathon popped up again. Tony's won something, now Joan's gotta win something.
And dog, when I tell y'all Joan is literally sickening to watch this entire scene, Tracy Ellis Ross was acting her ass off because I truly want to bitch slap the shit out of Joan. Like, bitch, how are you this bothered? You look like you want to come out your skin. Like you having a nervous breakdown because the woman you've been best friends with your entire life is getting married before you. And you are literally only 31 years old, you nut job. Relax.
I don't have a problem with Tony or her wedding. I am excited about it. I am happy for her. Do you hear me? I am happy for her. I am happy for my friend. Do you understand? I'm happy for her. Okay, I'm happy for my friend. I'm happy for my friend.
And again, I'm telling y'all, we don't give Ellis enough credit for the amount of compassion and endless grace this for Joan, because this shit made me want to jump through my TV and bitch slap her myself. But Ellis immediately decides to completely let go of how she's been dragging him for filth and the fact that she's upset, not because she's truly going through something legitimate, but because her friend's happiness makes her that unhappy. And he decides to instead comfort her and take this nut bitch back.
2 minutes is up. Oh, hell, what did you do to my best friend?
Tony, Joan's crying because she's happy. Happy we're back together.
Joan done showing this man every red flag imaginable, and he refuses to run. Jesus Christ. And truly no good deed goes unpunished, because if you thought that this little breakdown from Joan, all this grace that Ellis showing her would be the beginning of her getting her shit together, starting to be happy for her friend, or at least stop taking her shit out on Ellis, you would be wrong. If you thought the engagement was hard for Joan, the weekend of the wedding was unbearable for her, and as such, she was a raging bitch to Ellis. First, she starts flipping shit because she learns that Ellis's baby mama got a role in the movie he's filming. So in order to prove to Joan she has nothing to worry about, Ellis took her to set with him so she could see for herself. Mind you, this is what Joan chose to do when she was supposed to be with Tony for a weekend wedding festivities, as she is the maid of honor. But remember, any excuse to not be there for Tony wedding things. So Joan goes to set with Ellis for a while and then heads up to Tony's without him. Then after filming, Ellis drove 3 hours in traffic after being on set filming all day to make it to Tony's, but he missed the rehearsal dinner. So when he arrives, he meets Joan already waiting to tear off his head.
The rehearsal dinner was 2 hours ago. Where were you?
I called your cell 3 times. You didn't get my messages?
There aren't any messages on my cell phone. Maybe you misdialed and left them on Sylvia's phone.
Fine. Be mad because I'm late, but don't start that Sylvia crap again.
There wouldn't be any Sylvia crap if you hadn't lied to me.
I didn't know what else to do, Joan. You were at the set today.
Yeah, well, you weren't here for me.
I just worked a 15-hour day. I drove 3 hours in traffic to get here. I'm exhausted. And you say I'm not here for you?
No, you're not.
You need to go to your mother, climb back into the womb, and start over. Because you need more than any human being can possibly give.
And here is, yet again, another perfect opportunity for Ellis to make it the last time he ever saw Joan. But no, in yet another attempt not to be there for Tony's pre-wedding events, Joan decides that she needs to get Ellis, the man she clearly hates with all her heart, back, and that it's not sufficient to simply return his calls. She must instead leave Tony's and drive back to LA to talk to him in person. Then, of course, with the clearance they set that Ellis just gave her that day, she decides she's gonna barge on his set, at which point she sees him holding his baby with his baby mother hovering over him before the baby mother then leans in and kisses him. And let me be fair, if I'm Joan, I'd have been mad as about that too. That being said, I wouldn't have turned up there like she did because it's the man's job. And not only would it be embarrassing for him at his place of employment, but I'd be embarrassed too. Joan looked very crazy doing all of this, especially as the baby mama cuss out and call security and thing. It was all very ghetto, very ghetto. And yet another opportunity for them to never see one another again. But when you next look, Tony finally kicks Joan's hating ass out of our wedding. So when Ellis goes to Joan's house to try to pick up his things, assuming she'd be at the wedding so he could avoid her, he meets her on the couch, feeling sorry for herself. And of course, Ellis in his special Joan-sized soft spot gets to feeling sorry for her too. So by the time she manages to get herself re-invited to the wedding, when she's sitting down at the reception, still feeling sorry for herself, in walks Ellis, ready to give this insane, verbally abusive nut bitch yet another opportunity to treat him like shit. And treat him like shit she did. Because after all that grace and opportunity Ellis has given her, she spins around and cheats on him with his agent, talking about his agent as her enchanted love.
Shame.
Listen, Joan really ain't shit. I ain't care what y'all say. Justice for Ellis.
Y'all should subscribe to the Patreon. I put, for the people who want to hear me doing all my cursing, we put the uncensored versions of every recap on the Patreon. So do that.